Unity to the community. 89.9 KMOJ, the People's Station.
89.9 KMOJ, today's R&B and throwbacks. I'm Glam Life Kim, and it is now time for Minneapolis 360 with one of my favoriteest people in this state. What's up, Mr. Anthony Taylor?
Ah, man, Kim, I am doing good. You are one of my favorites of all-time favorites, too. To be together on these days, man, it's just such a blessing. I hear your voice, and I'm sure, like, the Twin Cities feel it's like, man, Kim finna turn up today, right? So, and I know they turning up on Sundays already, so this I get my little turn up time with you. Right?
Okay, you know what? I'm ready to turn up today because the sun is shining. I actually could take off my coat. Like when I came inside, I left my coat in the car. Like, that's how you know when it's starting to get warm, when you can leave.
Yeah. Us in the Midwest, man, as soon as we hit 40, 45, 50, people start wearing shorts. So
right.
I already know.
Right.
I already know what time it is.
I got beside myself, huh?
No, you didn't. The coat is good. I've seen people with shorts on when it's been like that because we always so bundled up, right? And,
right.
In the last 3 weeks, I mean, we really been in the deep freezer, right? Like the freezer done turned on, so we start to see sun, and we kind of act a little different, right? But
it's the sun for me, bro.
Yeah, I know it is. I know it is. And just one thing about that too, when I start to see like the snow melt, right, and it's going down the drains and stuff outside, it just make me feel a lot better, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So I cannot even be mad at you because today I just came out with a little jacket and I put the big coat on. Left it in the house. So truly one of the nicest days this week we've had so far in Minneapolis. My name is Anthony Taylor. I am the African American Community Specialist for the City of Minneapolis. Welcome to Minneapolis 360. It is always truly a blessing, as I always say, to be a part of this platform on KMOJ to provide information so folks can really make informed decisions and accurate decisions that affect family and community. And today's topic is really no different, right? And what I want to make sure that we understand that Minneapolis is about to head into really a situation that I think people need to be aware of, and that is exactly the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. That is happening on March 8th. So we are less than about 2 weeks away bearing any type of changes from any type of grand jury and things like that. But Minneapolis, we are less than 2 weeks away from the start of the Derek Chauvin trial. Now, March 8th, folks, doesn't mean that the trial immediately starts. So if there are no delays or no continuations, jury selection will be happening March 8th. So I just kind of wanted to spend some time talking to you about the trial. I think this has been on a lot of people's radar. I don't know if there's folks who really don't know that if the date that it was coming up, they knew that a trial was going to happen with Derek Chauvin. So I want to start with this and by saying this, right? Mm-hmm. There's so much going on in our community. This trial, I think, is something that we need to be aware of, and we need to be focused on what's happening and how it would possibly affect us as a community, us as individuals, regarding the things that we hear and see that may cause some triggers and some trauma regarding trials. And a lot of times I think as we as Black folks in this community, we see these things not come out our way a lot, right? And there's some anxiety that is built up around that, and is warranted and it is justified because of the shenanigans and the misdeeds and the injustice that's happened through our country when we've had these type of trials. So, Kim, when I ask you about this trial, not necessarily the ins and outs of it, but what comes up for you when you hear that our city will actually be on the spotlight in the news regarding this trial for the murder of George Floyd? What comes up for you when you hear that?
So this is touchy. I think the first thing that pops in my head, unfortunately, is our babies. And I say that because this was traumatizing for them, right? Like, I think this was the first time for many of them, and don't get me wrong, a lot of them have seen and dealt with it on a day-to-day basis. But I think especially for those who have been sheltered or those who, may live in the suburbs or, just to see this happen on social media, right in front of their face, I know it was traumatizing. And I just remember when it all happened, how many of our youth were out there. They were on the front line. They were, so, and I know they had a lot of feelings and emotions and they felt some type of way, right? So I'm concerned for them as far as, and I don't know if there's something that we need to do to kind of, help them to prepare for this. Because I just worry, how are they going to take this? How are they going to receive it?
Absolutely. And I think that's important because, and even for like grown folks like myself, right? Like I how do I react to a lot of different things that I hear that I don't like? And
Right.
even just going back and revisiting that episode and how traumatic it was, I think it's hard for anybody.
Right.
The idea for this show too, as well, is to give folks some information just to be prepared too, right? So we know that the trial starts the 8th. We know that Governor Walz has activated the National Guard to be in our city. So, and the city is taking precautions
Right.
for people's safety, right? So there's perimeters around the Hennepin County Government Center. There's perimeters around City Hall. There'll be perimeters around where the trial starts. And then a lot of our a lot of our downtown offices will be closed, specifically the government center. So it'll be starting to restrict access to the government center. So as I want folks to kind of understand and be prepared that our city will look different, right? Our city will look different, and there will be what National Guard, and really, I know it affects a lot of people because it looks militaristic,
Right.
and it probably will look that way, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard for folks to kind of, understand that.
Right. It's gonna trigger something, right? I mean, I just think, first response, especially if you aren't tuned in today or if you haven't been listening on the news or if you're not aware of what's about to happen, when you see it, it could trigger a bunch of different emotions, right?
Absolutely. And the idea is for folks to know that going in.
Right.
Also, too, I think there's something that folks really need to understand too, as well as access, right? So on the 1st, 6th Street South will be closed between 3rd and 4th Avenues on both sides of the streets and the sidewalks. So, Metro Transit will adjust their routes as well for folks to be able to find out if that affects you. You can always go to metrotransit.org/rider alerts to find out exactly, how to get about if those closures affect you.
So, real quick, before you keep going, Anthony, do you think we should open the phone lines up? Because I'm sure there's people that want to talk about this. So if you're listening and if you want to say something, if you have, a comment or some other information, feel free to give us a call. The number is 612-377-3456. Again, that's 612-377-3456.
Minneapolis, I would love to hear from you if you got any comments or just want to speak about what's coming up for folks. I think it's important with the National Guard being here, right? We understand what it looks like, but that doesn't stop folks from peacefully protesting. So I want to be clear on that because I am a big proponent of peaceful protest, and I encourage folks to exercise their right how they feel if this is something that they want to do, and I think it's important. So I don't want to say what's allowed, what's not allowed. Folks can do what I think is best, but also just make smart decisions regarding how you feel about that. So I'm not going to get into that anyway. I just want folks to do the right thing when it comes to protesting and also being safe, right? Because Kim, we're still in COVID, right? So we still are dealing with COVID and being able to be masked up and being able to be safe when we do protest. So
we do have a caller, Anthony.
Absolutely, and I will say this before we take our caller, Kim. The trial will be televised as well, so folks will be able to hear and watch real-time updates with this trial. So I think that's super important for folks to know. But let's hear from our people, Kim.
All right, caller, you there?
Yes, how you doing today?
Awesome. How are you?
Good,
I'm
brother.
doing good. I was just calling. It's like every time we go out and vote and we put certain people in office and we ask for certain things, it's like whoever we're voting for, they get in office. Everything that we're voting for and we're asked for get through under the rug. And here we again left in the dark and we still out protesting. We got to start making better decisions for ourselves, the voters and the people, and especially for us as black folks. We got to get amongst each other. I don't care where we meet at, but we need to meet up and have a yay and nay session because we always find ourselves back to square one or back to 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's my take,
All
and
right.
thank you guys.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name's Tracy, and I'm working today, so I'll be all over the city. I'm like in Falcon Heights right now.
Well, be safe out there.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
And appreciate you calling,
All
my
right.
brother. And you know what, Kim, he brings up a really good point. And one of the things that has made COVID so hard and so difficult for all of us is to be able to gather and to talk about these things too, right? I mean, he's so right. First of all, if I understand what this brother was saying, it's just the importance of voting, right? But also holding our elected officials accountable.
Right.
As well.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to just really be able to gather and to talk to each other during COVID. And, you know, I'm a firm believer that we missed that. And that's one of the things that would help us in a lot of our situations that we're dealing with today. What do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I think that we do need to come together. And I know, there's before COVID, there were some people trying to, put some forums together and, give that opportunity. But there's still always virtual. There's still, however we need to come together. I do feel that we need to put more of an effort into doing that. We do have another caller. Anthony, should we take him?
Absolutely.
89.9 KMOJ. Please turn your radio down for me, love.
Okay.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm calling from New Hope.
Okay.
My take is I understand the trial. I understand peaceful protest. I'm just asking our people not to burn up our city again.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's all. Don't burn up the city.
100%
Be
right.
peaceful.
Right.
And, because it only hurts us when you burn the city up.
Right.
And everybody is looking at Minnesota this come March.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're gonna we'll set the tone for all the other cities. But we appreciate your comment, brother.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Kim. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, what they say, you have to lead by example. Whatever, if we set it off, it's it's gonna go down all over the world. So I do think that it's I don't know, that's a hard one because again. And that's why I initially started off with saying I'm worried about our babies and how they're going to react to this, right? Because, of course we're acting out of feelings, out of emotion. But then we also want to see a change, right? They want to be heard. They want, they just want to be heard, right? They want to, and I know that there's so many different ways to have a voice, but that's why it's important for us to set the tone for them, and to lead, them so that we can, find a way that will help to make sure that we are heard, in a peaceful manner.
Yes, it's so true, right? I mean, what comes up for me is the fact that nobody in the city wants the city to burn down again, right?
Right.
Nobody wants that. And I know that sometimes when you talk about trial preparedness, it brings forth some anxiety, right? So you kind of start from a deficit, emotionally when you talk about trial preparedness, National Guard, streets being monitored, things like that. So it does trigger, and you don't want to necessarily promote fear. But I also think it's important that there are folks in the city that I know that I talk to in some of the circles and meetings nobody wants that to happen, right? But
Right.
folks want justice,
Right.
and that's important. So folks want justice, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the most important thing. And as a society and as a people who have been fighting for justice for over 400 years, and we see these things that are clear as day to our eyes end up going a whole different way when we get into systems. And I think it's important to understand that folks want justice. So
Right. We do.
justice for George, to
Is
me, is vital.
is vital. It's vital. And however that looks and what that means, I'm not sure yet, but it's vital. We do have a couple more callers. You want to take them?
Yep.
All right. 89.9 KMOJ.
Hey, how you doing?
Getting yourself love.
Hi, sis.
Really good. How you guys doing up there? Well, I wanted to bring something to light because everybody's hoping that justice is formed, but the laws are not on the books for justice to be done. So while we're looking to say, hey, you saw that you killed that man, they're not rules on the book to say that that man is guilty. That's why everybody's acting so nervous. So while we're elected officials,
You're right.
we need to put bills through to say, hey, just because you're a police officer, you're not above the law. We have to put those laws on the books so that the next time that this happens, we don't have to wonder if our city is going to burn down because they actually are going to go to jail.
Right.
Absolutely.
Preach, sis.
That's a great point, sister.
All right. You guys have a great day.
You too, love. KMOJ. All right. We'll probably have another caller coming up. There they go. Let's see. KMOJ.
Hi.
Hey.
I have a question. I have a couple questions. Number one, black people didn't start this fire in Minneapolis during their first one. They were doing peaceful protest. The white people started. What we have to do is not get involved this time.
Yes.
That's
You
a
want
great
the whole
point.
thing?
Yes.
Okay. And second of all, what we need to do as a black race of people is start our own black political party. And then we can put in who we want in and who we don't want in. Because just think about this. Nancy Pelosi has been in 32 years. What has she done for us? She's a Democrat. The original Democrats were slave owners. Now that's what we need to think about. They're not for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to form our own party and put it on a national level and get all blacks involved.
Right. Thanks. What's your name, hon?
Maurice Red.
We appreciate you, Maurice.
Yeah, thank you, Maurice. And I think Maurice broke down something that I think that's vitally important. First of all, I'm all about black political power, right? And that's definitely important. So what I really want to also talk about too is what he said is important, Kim, is that it was a lot of outside influencers that was coming into the city that was causing these problems, and we've seen that.
Yep,
right?
We did firsthand.
We've seen it firsthand, right? So he is absolutely 100% right about that because we never encourage or promote tearing up the stuff that we
Built
spend our money at
right.
and build all of those things. So he's absolutely 100% right about that. And I like what he said about that is that we need to make sure that we don't get involved with the emotions if justice is not served.
Right. We got another caller, huh? You want to take it?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I had to call back. So I feel what that gentleman is saying, but realistically, for us to be less than 18% of the population in America, for us to come up with our own party isn't very realistic. But one thing we can do, there's something called ranked choice voting that messes the Democrats and the Republicans up. So if you look into ranked choice voting, I think that's the way as people that we can get our voices heard, and we don't have to put a political party together. We just got to get ranked choice voting on the books.
Okay.
Thank you.
What's your name, sis?
It's Geneva.
Geneva. We appreciate your comment.
Yep, thank you.
All righty.
KMOJ. All right.
That must have been Geneva calling twice. And I like that, right? And I appreciate that because that means the sister's listening and what she's offering is beautiful suggestions, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's the thing I love about Minneapolis is that we are an informed community and we have an opinion about how we think things need to be done. And I appreciate her and I appreciate the other people that call because it's really important
right.
for folks to have a voice and to speak about that. And this is And again, this is a platform
Right.
that we can share those
Yeah,
things,
and
Kim.
allow them to do that. Absolutely. It's beautiful. It's beautiful just to see, you know, people wanting to speak up and to give suggestions. And so, you know, absolutely. Like she said, hey, what she say, ranked choice?
Ranked choice voting. Yep.
So, hey, you know, if that has to be our first platform to all come together and, you know, make a change, let's do it. You know, whatever we can do as a community to make, you know, our city better and to make sure that we're safe and protected. And I'm all for it.
I'm all for it too. One of the things that I know too, Minneapolis, is there's a lot of engagement that's going on around trial preparedness and how folks can get together, whether it's street patrols, whether it's outreach, whether it's learning tables on different sides of our city. One of the things that I really want to promote the work of the Office of Violence Prevention with Sasha Cotton and her team. I've been had a chance and a privilege to kind of work with these individuals, and there's a lot of things that's on the table for folks to really get engaged. And if there's anything that you want to know about what's going on, please go to Minneapolis' site and type in Office of Violence Prevention. There's plans to do a bunch of community-based things to be active around this time and this period. So if you're not really being informed of what you'd like to get informed, please go to Office of Violence Prevention. They are taking applications for community groups interested in doing work, right?
Okay.
With city council approval, those things can happen, right? So just really, I'm a big fan of their work and trying to get things done. There's talk around healing circles. There's talk about bringing every demographic a part of this process, because it takes all of us to make sure that we're on the same page, we're updated, and we are in a position to activate when necessary. Right?
Wonderful. Yeah. We got a couple more callers.
Okay.
KMOJ.
Hello. Hi, my name is Erica, and I am a case manager in the community.
Hi, Erica.
Again, like everyone was saying, you know, a lot of our people are living in places where it's food deserts. There's not access. Transportation is difficult. So when we, you know, get upset the way we did the last time, it cuts us down. And, you know, we're talking about Black power. Listen, it's not about black or white. It's about green. Okay? It's how I feel. And when you destroy Black businesses, you are cutting down our Black power doing that, our green power doing that, green meaning money, okay, because this is what it really is about, okay? It doesn't matter whether you're Black or white. There's other nationalities that have more economic power out here where they're more respected, and that's what it really is about, I feel. So when we don't get the verdict that we want, because, you know, we already got what we want. He's being taken to trial. When we don't get the verdict that we want, we need to go back to the table and really think about, okay, how can we increase our green power to do the things that we really need to do out here, and, like you said, get some stuff done. Okay, it's a multi-layered situation, but we can't have what we had before. And I really hope that some of these community leaders that come out here at other times, you know, are going to come out and say, look, let's keep it peaceful. Let's work together to just maintain so we can figure this situation out. Okay?
Thanks for your comment, Erica.
Yeah, appreciate that.
KMOJ.
Yeah, are you still taking callers in regards to that?
You're on air. You're on air right now. We can't hear you, love.
Okay, no, I was going to say, you know, I am white listening, and, you know, it's not like she said a black or white thing. The female calling that said the ranked choice voting is, like, so precise. Sounded really great, and she's got the right idea. Instead of saying, hey, the white folks started the fires, hey, my city got burned too, you know, so, but it was for a reason. You know, the reason was that deep. It had to go that deep, so thanks.
All right.
Yeah, appreciate that.
All right. Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a right to express that, and again,
Absolutely.
the word white folks didn't come out, right. So I don't think the caller said that white folks came out. I mean, we kind of understand that these groups are predominantly white. They're agitators, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and I think when we're dealing with the white supremacy and how they try to infiltrate and make these things
Appear to look.
appear to
Mm-hmm.
look. Absolutely. So, one of the things I want to do, and I know we are short on time, and Kim, and this became clear to me just with our callers that we had on, is that folks don't want to see the same stuff happen like the last time.
Right.
Right. That is definitely clear.
Right. They want to see justice, but they want it handled differently.
They want it handled very much differently. And as we go through this, and thanks for all those callers who called in today, we're going to have a lot more conversations regarding the updates on the trial, right? KMOJ and the city of Minneapolis is committed to making sure that we have information given to folks during this time. So please tune in to KMOJ. You can also go to, like I said, the Office of Violence Prevention website, find out what they're doing. But I think it's important that we keep our minds ready to ingest this information. And really, I think it's important for folks to just understand how important it is to be peaceful, Kim. So it was good to hear from a lot of folks today.
It was, and I mean the phone lines are still off the hook. So obviously, this did, spark, some concern in our city. But like you said, hey, we're going to open it back up at a later time and continue the conversations.
Absolutely. I wish we had an hour. We've got 30 minutes. So I appreciate you, Twin Cities, for listening in. I appreciate Kim for being a part of this. Again, we'll talk further about this. But again, just like I said, trial starts March 8th. Jury selections will start at that time. I think some of the reports that I hear that it should be probably a 2-month process, if no delays. So just be aware of that. Understand what our city will look like, especially in the downtown areas with the National Guard. Understand if you can talk to your babies about those things that trigger, like you brought that up, Ken, the babies. You're worried about the babies. Mm-hmm. Please talk to your babies about what's going on so they know how to deal with this.
Right. Because again, the way they feel, they may bottle it up. They may not say it, but then they may act it out, later when it actually hits them in the face or when they have to see it, So we want to make sure that we are, have already discussed it with them. Like you said, hey, if you're going to protest, more power to you. Let's keep it peaceful, and let's make sure that we, let our babies know, or, I can't remember who it was, but, we most definitely have to lead them. We can't tell them to go out there, put them out there, and then leave them there and not take them home when it's time to go home, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
So let's make sure that we direct them. Let's come together as a city. If we need to start being proactive and, doing some virtual meetings or holding some things together that's going to give, everyone an outlet to talk about it, to discuss, to vent, let's make it happen, whatever we need to do.
Absolutely, and it's important. So keep listening in, Minneapolis. I am always blessed to be here. We will continue this conversation a lot in the next couple of weeks and months. So thank you for calling. God bless everybody. Be well.
All right, Anthony. Appreciate you always. Twin Cities, on the way, it's Mr. Zany K, Mr. Loudmouth himself. After that, of course, it's the one and only Q Bear, QBZ himself. And then, of course, we have a phenomenal roster of personalities that'll be on after that. So make sure you don't change the channel. It's 89.9 KMOJ, the People Station.